Welcome to Dark Seduction Stories, where dangerous love, powerful obsessions, and romance that changes everything. Drop your location in the comments, and let's dive into tonight's tale. The lobby of the Meridian Hotel gleamed like old money at midnight. All marble and brass, and the kind of silence that only came with $400 rooms. Isabel Torres straightened her navy uniform jacket and smiled at the couple gliding past, though they didn't acknowledge her existence. 3 years behind this desk had taught her that invisibility was both her job requirement and her survival strategy. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced at the screen. Lucas. What's wrong, baby? She turned away from the empty lobby, lowering her voice. I had another nightmare. Her 7-year-old son's voice was small, scared. The one about the monster. Isabel's chest tightened. The nightmares had started 6 months ago when her ex-husband Marcus found them. Just showed up at Lucas's school like he had every right, charm and threats wrapped in an expensive suit. The restraining order meant nothing to him. It never had. Is Aunt Yolanda there? She's sleeping. Wake her up, love. That's what she's there for. Isabel checked her watch. 5 more hours. Tell me about the dream. While Lucas described monsters that sounded suspiciously like his father, Isabel's attention snagged on movement near the entrance. A man in dark clothes, leather jacket worn at the elbows, boots that had seen miles. He didn't belong in the Meridian's polished world. Her instincts, honed by years of reading danger in a room, went on high alert. And then I couldn't find you anywhere. Lucas's voice cracked. Baby, listen to me. The stranger was walking toward her desk now. Nobody's taking you anywhere. The bad dreams are just dreams. Go wake up Aunt Yolanda, okay? Okay. A sniffle. Love you, Mum. Love you more than all the stars. She waited for the click before turning her full attention to the man now standing at her desk. Up close, he was all sharp angles and watchful eyes. Late 30s, maybe 40. A scar bisected his left eyebrow. His jaw was shadowed with stubble, and despite the worn jacket, his watch was expensive. A man with contradictions. Good evening. Isabel summoned her professional smile. Checking in? Yes. His voice was deep, rough-edged. James Garrett. I have a reservation. She pulled up his booking. King Suite, 7th floor, 7 nights. Paid in cash. Her fingers paused on the keyboard. Cash payments for extended stays always raised questions at the Meridian. Problem? That scarred eyebrow lifted. Not at all. She processed his credit card for incidentals, checked his ID. Washington, D.C. address. Born 1986. Business or pleasure, Mr. Garrett? Does anyone come to Philadelphia for pleasure? A hint of a smile ghosted his mouth. You'd be surprised. She printed his paperwork. Room service is available 24 hours. Fitness center opens at 5 a.m. Anything else I can help you with? He leaned forward slightly, and she caught his scent clean soap. Leather. Something darker underneath. I'm looking for someone. A guest. Robert Chen. You know him. Every alarm in Isabel's head fired at once. Robert Chen had checked into the penthouse 3 days ago, and something about him was wrong. Too many late-night visitors, too many hushed conversations, too many eyes watching the elevators. Hotel policy doesn't allow me to confirm guest information. Her voice stayed pleasant, neutral. I'm sure you understand. Something flickered in his dark eyes. Respect, maybe approval. Of course, had to try. He gathered his keycard. Thanks for your help, Miss Torres. She watched him walk to the elevators, with a fighter's economy of movement, purposeful and controlled. The kind of walk that came from knowing how to handle yourself in bad situations. Once he disappeared, she picked up the phone. Marcus, it's Isabel. She kept her voice low. New guest in 714. James Garrett. He was asking about Robert Chen. Can you keep an eye on him? Marcus Chen, the night security guard, no relation to Robert, grunted agreement. At 60, an ex-cop, he had instincts Isabel trusted. Chen's had another visitor tonight, number 8 this week. Something's not right up there. I know. Isabel's unease deepened. Stay alert. The next 2 hours passed in the usual midnight rhythm. a locked-out guest reeking of gin, a couple checking in with no luggage and knowing smiles. Isabel processed them all while her mind circled back to James Garrett and the way he'd said Robert Chen's name, like he was hunting. At 3 a.m., during the dead hour when even the bar had closed, Isabel pulled up Chen's file. She shouldn't. It was a privacy violation, but instinct told her this mattered. Robert Chen, 43, New York address. Penthouse booked 2 weeks, corporate card from Apex Holdings. 8 visitors in 3 days, all men, all staying 30 minutes to an hour. Nothing technically suspicious, but her gut said otherwise. "Ms. Torres!" Isabel jumped, spinning around. James Garrett stood closer than she'd expected, silent as a ghost. She hadn't heard him approach at all. "Mr. Garrett." She closed the screen quickly. "Is everything all right with your room?" "Room's fine." He wore different clothes, now dark jeans, black Henley that showed shoulders built for fighting. "Couldn't sleep. Thought I'd take a walk. Safe around here at night." "Reasonably." She pulled up a neighborhood map, grateful for something concrete to focus on. "Stick to the main streets. You work this shift every night?" The question seemed casual, but his eyes were still scanning the lobby, always watching. "Most nights." He studied her for a long moment. "You're good at your job. You pay attention, notice things. That's rare." Heat crept up Isabel's neck. "It's my job to notice." Still, his gaze held hers, and something passed between them. Recognition of 2 people who'd learned to watch their backs. "Have a good night, Ms. Torres." After he left, Isabel tried to focus on work, but her mind kept wandering to him, to the scar through his eyebrow, to the watchfulness in his eyes, to the question about Robert Chen. At 6 a.m., Sarah arrived for day shift, bright and chattering. Isabel handed off the log and headed for the employee exit. The November morning was cold and damp, the city just waking. She was 2 blocks from the bus stop when she noticed the car. Black sedan, tinted windows, idling at the curb. It had been behind her since she left the hotel, moving slowly, matching her pace. Isabel's heart hammered. She picked up speed, hand diving into her purse for pepper spray. The car accelerated. No, not Marcus. Not again. She'd been so careful. The sedan pulled alongside her and the window rolled down. Ms. Torres. Not Marcus. James Garrett leaning across from the driver's seat, concern on his face. Fear morphed into anger. "You scared me half to death." "I'm sorry." He looked genuinely apologetic. "I saw you walking. It's not safe. Can I give you a ride?" Every instinct screamed, "No, don't trust anyone. Don't let your guard down." But she was exhausted, and something in his eyes made her think maybe he was what he seemed, someone offering help. "Fine." She got in, keeping her purse on her lap, hand near the door. West Philly, near Clark Park. They drove in silence, Isabel hyper-aware of the close quarters, his scent, the competent way he handled the car. "What brings you to Philadelphia?" she finally asked. "Work." "What kind of work?" A pause. "The complicated kind." She studied him in the growing daylight, multiple scars, a burn mark on his left hand, a man who'd seen violence. "You're a cop," his mouth quirked. "Used to be. Long time ago." "And now?" "Now I'm a lot of things, none of them particularly impressive, but all of them dangerous. Sometimes." He turned onto her street without being told the address. That should have alarmed her. It didn't. He pulled to the curb in front of her building. Isabel could see the light in her second-floor window. Yolanda was up. "Thank you." She reached for the door. "Isabel." His voice stopped her. "Be careful at work. The next few days especially. If you see anything unusual, anything that makes you uncomfortable, call security immediately. Don't try to handle it yourself." "Why?" Her hand tightened on the door. "What's going on?" "I can't tell you that." He struggled with it, then pulled out his phone. "But take my number. If anything happens, anything, you call me." She hesitated, then took his phone, entered her number as he entered his in hers. Their fingers brushed and the air between them thickened. "Be careful, James." The words surprised her. Something shifted in his expression. "You too, Isabel." She climbed out and didn't look back until she was inside. He was still there, watching to make sure she got in safely. Upstairs, Yolanda waited with crossed arms. Whose car? Guest from the hotel. Isabel hung up her coat. Uh-huh. Yolanda didn't buy it. You got in a car with a strange man because I'm tired, Yoli. Yolanda pulled her into a hug. I know, but be careful. Not every man is Marcus, but I know. Mum! Lucas appeared, all wild curls and bright eyes. You're home! Isabel caught him up, breathing in sleep and shampoo. This was why she did it all. After breakfast and stories, Lucas fell asleep beside her. Isabel watched him breathe, memorizing his face. This small, perfect person who trusted her to keep him safe. Her phone buzzed. A text from James. Sleep well. Anything unusual? Call me. I mean it. Isabel stared at the message, then typed back, Thank you. For everything. His response came immediately. Any time. She fell asleep with the phone in her hand, and for the first time in years, her dreams were not about running. But when she woke 4 hours later, groggy and disoriented, there was another message. From Marcus, the security guard. Need you to come in early, 3 p.m. if possible. There's been a development with the penthouse guest. Not over the phone. Isabel's heart started pounding. She thought about texting James, asking advice. But what would she say? She got dressed, told Yolanda she had to go in early. Her best friend pressed pepper spray into her hand. Call me if anything feels wrong. Anything. The bus ride felt endless. Every man in a dark coat made her pulse spike. By the time she reached the Meridian, her nerves were raw. Marcus was waiting in the security office, his face grim. Close the door. She did, heart hammering. What happened? He pulled up security footage. Timestamp 11:47 a.m. 3 men in suits entering the lobby, walking straight to the penthouse elevator without stopping at the desk. Then at 12:15 p.m., the same 3 men emerging with Robert Chen between them, his hands behind his back, clearly restrained. They arrested him? That's the thing. Marcus zoomed in. No badges, no identification, no warrant. This was an abduction, Isabel. In broad daylight. Her stomach dropped. Did you call the police? Mr. Patel won't let me. Marcus's frustration was evident. Says it would be bad for business. He met her eyes. But Isabel, after they took Chen, 2 other men came asking questions. Wanted to know who worked last night. Who saw Chen's visitors? The room tilted. What did you tell them? Nothing. But Sarah gave them your schedule. Isabel's blood went cold. Her hand found her phone. James's number already pulled up. Maybe it was time to stop being careful. Maybe it was time to trust someone. Isabel stood outside the hotel's side entrance, phone pressed to her ear, watching the street for any sign of the men Marcus had described. James answered on the second ring. Isabel. Just her name. But she heard the concern underneath. What's wrong? Robert Chen was taken from the hotel this morning. The words tumbled out fast. 3 men, no badges, no warrant. And then 2 others came asking about who worked last night. They have my schedule, James. Silence on the other end. But she could hear him moving, the rustle of fabric, a door closing. Where are you right now? Outside the hotel. Service entrance. Stay there. Don't go back inside. I'm 5 minutes away. His voice had changed, gone hard and focused. Isabel, listen to me carefully. Do you see anyone watching you? Any cars that seem out of place? She scanned the street. Delivery trucks, a taxi idling at the corner, business people hurrying past. I don't think so. Good. Keep your eyes open. I'm almost there. 4 minutes later, the black sedan pulled up, and James leaned across to push open the passenger door. Isabel slid in, and he pulled away from the curb immediately, checking his mirrors constantly. Tell me everything. His jaw was tight, hands precise on the wheel. Isabel described what Marcus had shown her. The men in suits, Chen being escorted out, the questions about night staff. James listened without interrupting, but she watched his expression grow darker with every detail. Did Chen see you last night? He finally asked. Did he acknowledge you in any way? She remembered Chen coming down around midnight with his bodyguards, the way he'd looked at her. He spoke to me, Told me he was expecting a visitor. Said something about appreciating discretion. James hit the steering wheel. That was a test. He was marking you, making sure you understood you'd been noticed. Noticed for what? Fear was giving way to frustration. James, I need to know what's really going on. I have a son to protect. He was quiet for a long moment, navigating through afternoon traffic, clearly weighing how much to tell her. Finally, he spoke. I'm a private investigator, but I also do contract work for federal agencies. Robert Chen is what we call a facilitator. He connects people who need to move money or assets without government oversight. We're talking millions in untraceable funds, cryptocurrency, bearer bonds, the kind of money that funds everything from corporate espionage to human trafficking. Isabel felt sick. And the men who took him could be a lot of people. A client who got burned, a competitor eliminating the competition, or, he hesitated, or someone who doesn't want Chen talking to people like me. So I'm a witness. Her voice came out hollow. To whatever he was doing at the hotel. Yes. James glanced at her and she saw something in his eyes that looked like guilt. I'm sorry, Isabel. If I'd known they'd move this fast. Don't! She cut him off. This isn't your fault. I just need to know what to do. Do I call the police? Do I run? What? You don't run. His voice was firm. Running makes you look guilty, makes you a target. You go to work tonight like nothing happened. You do your job, you smile. You pretend you didn't notice anything unusual about Robert Chen. He pulled over suddenly, parking in front of a coffee shop. But I'm going to make sure you're not alone. What does that mean? He turned to face her fully, and the intensity in his dark eyes made her breath catch. It means I'm going to be at that hotel every night you work until this is resolved. It means you're going to have my number on speed dial. And it means if anyone makes you uncomfortable, you find me immediately. You can't just... Isabel started, then stopped. Why are you doing this? You barely know me. His hand came up, fingers brushing her cheek so gently it made her ache. I know enough. I know you're scared, but you're still showing up. I know you're protecting your son any way you can. I know you see things other people miss. His thumb traced her jawline. And I know I'd never forgive myself if something happened to you because of my investigation. Isabel's heart was racing for reasons that had nothing to do with fear. James. Coffee. He pulled back, breaking the moment. You need coffee, and we need to go over what to do if someone approaches you. They spent an hour in the coffee shop while James coached her through scenarios. What to say if questioned, how to appear cooperative without revealing anything useful. He gave her a small device that looked like a key fob. Panic button, he demonstrated, showing her the concealed button. You press this, it alerts me and sends your location. Keep it on you at all times. This is insane. Isabel turned the device over in her hands. 2 days ago, I was just a night manager. Now I'm carrying a panic button. 2 days ago, you were still in danger, you just didn't know it. James's expression softened. I'm sorry you're in this position, but I promise you I'm going to keep you safe. Something in the way he said it made her believe him. At 5:30, James drove her home. As they pulled up to her building, he took her hand. I need you to do something for me. His fingers threaded through hers. Tonight, when you get home from work, text me. Just one word, safe. That's all I need to know. Okay. She didn't want to let go of his hand. James, what about you? If these people are as dangerous as you say, I can handle myself. But he squeezed her hand gently. But thank you for caring. Isabel leaned across the console and kissed his cheek, feeling the rasp of stubble, the warmth of his skin. Be careful. His hand cupped the back of her neck, holding her close for a moment longer than necessary. You too. Inside, Yolanda took one look at her face and pulled her into the kitchen. Lucas was in his room doing homework, and Isabel was grateful for a moment to decompress. What happened? Yolanda demanded. Isabel told her everything, the abduction, the questions, James's warnings. When she finished, Yolanda was pale. You need to quit. Her best friend's voice was shaking. Tonight, call in, tell them you're done, and we'll figure something else out. I can't. Isabel met her eyes. We need the money, and James says running makes it worse. I have to act normal. Normal. Yolanda laughed without humor. There's nothing normal about this. Isa, these people sound dangerous. I know, Isabel's voice dropped. But James will be there. He's going to watch out for me. This man you just met. Yolanda's tone was skeptical. This stranger you're suddenly trusting with your life. He's not. Isabel stopped because she didn't know how to explain it. The way James looked at her. The way he'd immediately dropped everything to help. The way he made her feel safe for the first time in years. I trust him, Yoli. Yolanda studied her face for a long moment, then sighed. You're falling for him. I'm not, but the protest died on her lips. Was she, after just 2 days? It's complicated. It always is. Yolanda pulled her into a hug. Just promise me you'll be careful. Both of you have been hurt enough. Isabel spent the evening with Lucas, making his favorite dinner, reading extra stories, soaking up every moment. He was her anchor, her reason for everything. Whatever happened tonight, she had to come home to him. At 9:30, she kissed him goodnight, checked that the panic button was in her pocket, and headed for the bus stop. The November night was cold and clear, the city lights reflecting off low clouds. She kept her phone in her hand the entire ride, James's #1 touch away. The Meridian looked the same as always, gleaming and elegant, money wrapped in marble. But Isabel felt the difference the moment she walked through the employee entrance. Marcus was waiting, his face troubled. Isabel, he pulled her aside. 2 men came by around 8, asked for you specifically. I told them you'd called in sick. Her mouth went dry. What did they look like? Eastern European, maybe Russian. Expensive suits, cheap attitudes. Marcus's hand went to his hip, where Isabel knew he kept a weapon. They didn't believe me about you being sick. Said they'd wait. Where are they now? Left about 20 minutes ago. He met her eyes. But they'll be back. Isabel, maybe you should. I know. She touched his arm. Thank you for covering for me. She made her way to the front desk, her nerves singing with tension. Sarah was finishing up the handoff, chattering about her evening. Isabel barely heard her. Her eyes kept scanning the lobby, looking for threats, for James, for any sign of the men Marcus had described. At 10:15, James walked through the main entrance. He'd changed again, dress pants, button-down shirt, leather jacket, that made him look like he belonged among the wealthy guests. He didn't approach the desk, just gave her a subtle nod and took a seat in the lobby with a newspaper, positioning himself where he could see the entrance, the elevators, and her desk. Isabel felt her shoulders relax a fraction. He was here. She wasn't alone. The first 2 hours of her shift passed without incident. A few check-ins, a room service order, a guest locked out of their room. Normal night manager tasks. James stayed in the lobby, occasionally turning pages of his newspaper. But she knew he was watching. Everything. At 12:30, 2 men walked through the entrance. Isabel knew immediately these were the ones Marcus had mentioned. Both tall, both built like fighters, both wearing suits that were expensive, but didn't quite fit their frames. Men more comfortable in tactical gear than business attire. They walked straight to her desk. Isabel's hand found the panic button in her pocket, but she kept her expression professional, pleasant. Good evening, gentlemen. Her voice didn't shake. How can I help you? The older one leaned against the desk, his smile not reaching his pale blue eyes. We're looking for information about a former guest, Robert Chen. We understand you were working the night shift when he was staying here. I'm sorry. Isabel kept her hands steady on the keyboard. Hotel policy doesn't allow me to discuss our guests. If you have official business, I can direct you to our manager. We're not interested in your manager. The younger one moved closer, crowding her space. We're interested in what you saw. Chen had visitors. You logged them in. We need those names. Out of the corner of her eye, Isabel saw James stand, folding his newspaper with deliberate care. He didn't look at them, but he was moving closer. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. Isabel's finger pressed the panic button, once, twice. If you'd like to leave your contact information, I can have management reach out. The older one's hand shot out, gripping her wrist. Listen carefully. That's enough. James's voice cut through the tension, calm but with an edge of steel. He was right there now, close enough to touch. "The lady said she can't help you. I suggest you leave." The two men turned, assessing James with professional eyes. The older one released Isabel's wrist. "This doesn't concern you, friend." "Actually, it does." James pulled out a wallet, flashed something that made both men's expressions change. "Federal investigator, and you just assaulted a witness. So I'll ask one more time, leave. Or I call Philadelphia PD and we all spend the night sorting this out downtown." The tension stretched like a wire about to snap. Then the older man smiled, cold and humorless. "Of course. Our mistake." He looked at Isabel. "Apologies, miss. We'll be in touch." They left, but the threat hung in the air behind them. Isabel's hands were shaking now, adrenaline crashing through her system. James moved behind the desk, his hand warm on her shoulder. "You did great." His voice was soft now, gentle. "You did exactly right. They'll be back." She looked up at him, fear and something else warring in her chest. "Won't they?" "Yes." He didn't lie to her. "But next time, I'll be ready." His hand moved from her shoulder to her face, thumb brushing away a tear she hadn't realized had fallen. "And Isabel, I meant what I said. I'm going to keep you safe." She believed him. The rest of Isabel's shift passed in a state of heightened awareness, every sound magnified, every shadow suspect. James stayed in the lobby until 4 a.m., when the last of the bar patrons stumbled to their rooms and the building settled into its deepest quiet. Only then did he approach the desk again. "Walk you out?" It wasn't really a question. Isabel nodded, grateful. She logged out, grabbed her coat and purse, and met him by the employee entrance. Marcus was there too, his hand resting on his weapon. "I'll walk the perimeter." The older man's eyes were serious. "Make sure nobody's waiting." They stood in tense silence while Marcus checked the street, the alley, the parking area. Isabel was acutely aware of James beside her, the heat of his body, the coiled readiness in his stance. He'd positioned himself between her and the door, she noticed, protecting her even now. Marcus returned, gave a curt nod. "Clear, but don't dawdle." James's car was right outside, and he had her inside within seconds, doors locked, engine running. He didn't speak until they were several blocks away, and Isabel watched him constantly check the mirrors, taking random turns, making sure they weren't followed. "You can't go back there." His voice was tight. "Not tomorrow night, not until this is resolved." "I have to." Isabel's response was automatic. "I need the money, and if I don't show up, it looks suspicious." "Isabel." He pulled over suddenly, parking on a quiet residential street. "They grabbed your wrist. They made a direct threat. These aren't people who give warnings twice." "Then what am I supposed to do?" Frustration bubbled up, mixing with fear and exhaustion. "Quit my job, go on the run again, uproot Lucas for the 3rd time in 2 years. Her voice cracked. "I'm so tired of running, James. So tired of being scared." His hand found hers in the darkness, fingers threading through hers. I know you are." He was quiet for a moment, thinking, what if there was another option? What if you and Lucas stayed somewhere safe for a few days while I finished this? "Stay where?" "I have a place. A safe house, technically. Out in Chester County, about 40 minutes from here." He squeezed her hand. "It's secure, it's comfortable, and nobody knows about it except me and my handler." Isabel's mind raced. "I can't just disappear. Lucas has school. I have responsibilities. For how long?" James turned to face her fully, and even in the dim light she could see the intensity in his eyes. "How long are you going to keep sacrificing everything to stay in a situation that's already dangerous? Your ex-husband is hunting you. Now these men are too. At what point do you choose safety over obligation?" The words hit hard because they were true. She'd been running on adrenaline and stubbornness for so long she'd forgotten what safety even felt like. 3 days. James's voice softened. "Give me 3 days to track down who took Chen and why. 3 days to make sure these men understand you're under federal protection and off limits. Then you can go back to your life, but with actual safety instead of just hoping for the best. And Lucas?" Her son was always the first consideration. What do I tell him? That we're hiding again? That'll just bring back all the nightmares. Tell him it's an adventure. James's thumb traced circles on the back of her hand. Tell him you won a weekend getaway. The house has a big yard, woods to explore, a game room. Make it fun for him. He doesn't need to know the real reason. Isabel closed her eyes, weighing options that all felt impossible. Stay and risk another confrontation. Run and risk triggering Lucas's trauma again. Trust James with not just her safety, but her son's. Why are you doing this? She opened her eyes, meeting his gaze. Really, why do you care so much? James was quiet for a long moment, his jaw working. My wife? He stopped, started again. My wife was killed by a drunk driver 10 years ago. She was coming home from her night shift at the hospital. 3 a.m., empty roads, and some asshole ran a red light doing 70. His voice was steady, but his eyes weren't. I wasn't there to protect her. Couldn't stop it. Couldn't do anything but identify her body and plan her funeral. Isabel's throat tightened. James, I see her sometimes. He looked down at their joined hands. In other people. The way they smile. The way they fight for what matters to them. And when I saw you that first night, he met her eyes again. Talking to your son on the phone at midnight. Exhausted, but still so gentle with him. Still showing up. Still trying. I thought, here's someone worth protecting. A tear slid down Isabel's cheek. I'm not her. No. James reached up, wiping the tear away with his thumb. You're not, but you're someone who deserves to feel safe. And maybe, his voice dropped lower, maybe I deserve a chance to get it right this time. The space between them felt charged, electric. Isabel found herself leaning closer, drawn by something she couldn't name. His hand slid from her cheek to the back of her neck, gentle but sure, and when their lips met, it was like coming home and jumping off a cliff at the same time. The kiss started soft, tentative, a question being asked and answered. Then James made a low sound in his throat and pulled her closer, and the kiss deepened, became something desperate and necessary. Isabel's hands fisted in his shirt, holding on like he was the only solid thing in a spinning world. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, James rested his forehead against hers. Come to the safe house. His voice was rough. Please, let me keep you safe. Okay. The word came out before she could second guess it. Okay, yes. Relief flooded his expression. I'll pick you up at noon. Pack for 3 days, casual clothes, whatever Lucas needs to be comfortable. And Isabel? He kissed her again, soft and sweet. Thank you for trusting me. He drove her home, waited until she was safely inside before pulling away. Isabel watched his taillights disappear, then touched her lips, still tingling from his kiss. What was she doing? Trusting a man she'd known for 3 days with her and Lucas's safety, kissing him like the world was ending. But it hadn't felt reckless. It had felt right. Upstairs, Yolanda was awake, watching late-night TV with worried eyes. She took one look at Isabel's face and sat up straight. What happened? Isabel told her everything: the confrontation, James's protection, the safe house offer. She left out the kiss. That was too new, too precious to share yet. 3 days, Yolanda processed it. And you trust him? Really trust him? I do. Isabel met her best friend's eyes. I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But Yoli, he makes me feel... She struggled for words. Safe. Seen. Like I matter beyond what I can do for other people. Yolanda's expression softened. Then go. Take Lucas and go. I'll cover for you at work. Tell them it's a family emergency. She squeezed Isabel's hand. Just promise me you'll be careful with your heart. You've been hurt enough. I promise. Isabel managed 3 hours of sleep before Lucas bounced onto her bed, full of 7-year-old energy. She pulled him close, breathing in his little boy scent. Baby, how would you like to go on an adventure? His eyes went wide. What kind of adventure? A surprise one. We're going to stay at a house in the country for a few days. There are woods to explore and games to play. She kept her voice light, excited. Just you and me. Can I bring my dinosaurs? All of them. They spent the morning packing, Lucas chattering happily about what adventures they might have. Isabel let his excitement wash over her, grateful he couldn't see the anxiety thrumming beneath her skin. She packed the pepper spray, the panic button, her important documents sealed in waterproof bags, just in case. At noon exactly, James pulled up in a different car, a navy SUV with tinted windows. Isabel's pulse jumped at the sight of him, and she had to remind herself that Lucas was watching. James got out, and his smile when he saw them was genuine, warm. "You must be Lucas." He crouched down to the boy's level. "I'm James. I'm a friend of your mum's. I hear you like dinosaurs." Lucas nodded shyly, clutching his favorite T-Rex. "That's a Tyrannosaurus Rex, right?" James studied the toy seriously. "Did you know they had the strongest bite force of any land animal? About 12,000 pounds of pressure." Lucas's eyes lit up. "Really? Really?" James stood, ruffling the boy's hair gently. "I've got some books about dinosaurs at the house if you want to read them." Just like that, Lucas was won over. He chatted about dinosaurs the entire drive, while James answered his questions with patience and genuine interest. Isabel watched from the passenger seat, her heart doing complicated things in her chest. The safe house was actually a renovated farmhouse, set back from the road with acres of woods surrounding it. It was beautiful white clapboard, black shutters, a wraparound porch that begged for summer evenings and sweet tea. Nothing about it screamed safe house. It looked like home. "This is yours?" Isabel asked as James helped Lucas out of the car. "Technically it belongs to the agency, but I'm the only one who uses it." He grabbed their bags. "Come on, I'll show you around." The interior was just as charming: hardwood floors, comfortable furniture, a kitchen that smelled like coffee and cinnamon. James showed Lucas to a bedroom painted sky blue, complete with star decals on the ceiling and a bookshelf full of children's books. "You keep a kid's room in your safe house?" Isabel asked quietly, while Lucas explored. "I host families sometimes." James's voice was soft. "Witnesses with children who need protection. Figured they deserved somewhere that felt less like hiding and more like living." This man. Isabel wanted to kiss him again, but settled for touching his arm. "Thank you." "Mom, look." Lucas held up a book about velociraptors. "Can we read this one?" "After you unpack, baby." They spent the afternoon settling in. James made lunch, grilled cheese and tomato soup that Lucas devoured. Then he took them on a walk through the woods, pointing out animal tracks and interesting leaves, making Lucas laugh with silly nature facts. Isabel watched them together, this dangerous man being so gentle with her son, and felt something shift and settle in her chest. This was what she'd been missing. Not just safety, but partnership. Someone who saw her struggles and stepped up to help instead of making them worse. That evening, after Lucas fell asleep clutching his T-Rex, Isabel found James on the back porch, nursing a beer and watching the sunset paint the sky purple and gold. "Hey." She sat beside him, close enough that their shoulders touched. "Hey yourself." He set down the beer and turned to her. "How are you holding up?" "Better than I expected." She leaned her head on his shoulder, and his arm came around her automatically. "He really likes you." "I really like him." James's voice was quiet. "He's a great kid, Isabel. You've done an amazing job with him. I've done a terrified job with him." She closed her eyes. Every decision driven by fear of his father finding us. Every choice about keeping him safe instead of keeping him happy. Those aren't mutually exclusive. James pressed a kiss to the top of her head. "And for what it's worth, he seems pretty happy to me." They sat in comfortable silence as the stars began to appear. Finally, Isabel spoke. "What happens after 3 days?" James's arm tightened around her. "I'm going to make sure those men understand you're off limits, that you're a protected witness and touching you means federal charges. I'm going to tie up my investigation so Chen's disappearance doesn't blow back on you." He paused. "And then, if you want, going to help you deal with your ex-husband. Properly this time. No more running." Isabel's breath caught. "You'd do that?" "I'd do a lot for you, Isabel." He turned to face her, his expression serious in the fading light. "I know this is fast. I know we barely know each other, but I haven't felt this way about anyone since..." He stopped, swallowed hard. since before I lost her, and I'm not going to waste it by being careful or playing it safe." Isabel's hands came up to frame his face, feeling the rasp of stubble, the warmth of his skin. "I'm scared. Me too." His honesty was devastating. Terrified, actually, but not enough to walk away. She kissed him then, soft and slow and full of promise. His hands slid into her hair, holding her like she was precious, like she mattered. When they finally broke apart, both of them were smiling. 3 days, Isabel whispered, "and then we figure out the rest." 3 days, James agreed. And then everything. The next 2 days passed in a strange bubble of domesticity that felt both surreal and achingly normal. James left early each morning, disappearing into his investigation, while Isabel and Lucas explored the property. They built a fort in the woods, made cookies that were more chocolate chips than dough, read every dinosaur book in the house twice. Lucas laughed more than he had in months, and the nightmares stayed away. James returned each evening with takeout and updates he carefully edited for Lucas's ears. The investigation was progressing. He'd identified the men who'd taken Chen Russian mob enforcers collecting on a debt. Chen was likely dead, his body probably dumped in the Delaware River. The men who'd come to the hotel looking for information had been warned off by James's federal credentials and a few carefully placed calls to their superiors. "You're safe," he told Isabel on the second night after Lucas was asleep. They were curled together on the couch, her head on his chest, his heartbeat steady beneath her ear. "They know you're protected. They know coming after you means federal heat they can't afford." "And my ex?" Isabel's hand rested on James's stomach, feeling the rise and fall of his breathing. "What about Marcus?" James was quiet for a moment, his fingers tracing patterns on her shoulder. "I've been looking into him. He's violated the restraining order 4 times in the past year, but local police haven't done anything about it." His voice hardened. "That changes now. I have connections in the Philadelphia DA's office. We're building a case for stalking, harassment, violation of custody agreements. He shows up at Lucas's school again. He goes to jail. No more warnings." Isabel felt tears prick her eyes. "Why are you doing all this?" "Because you deserve to stop running." James tilted her face up, his dark eyes serious. "Because Lucas deserves a childhood without fear. And because—" He paused, seeming to gather courage. "Because I'm falling in love with you, Isabel. And I want a future where we don't have to hide." Her breath caught. "James, you don't have to say it back." His thumb brushed her cheek. "I know it's fast. I know you have every reason to be cautious. But I needed you to know. I'm falling too." The words tumbled out, terrifying and liberating at once. "It scares me how much. After Marcus, I thought I'd never trust anyone again. But you—" She touched his face, feeling the scar through his eyebrow, the rough stubble of his jaw. "You make me want to be brave." He kissed her then, slow and deep, a promise being made without words. When they finally broke apart, they were both breathing hard. "Stay tonight," Isabel whispered. "I don't want to sleep alone." James searched her face. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." They moved to her bedroom, leaving the door cracked in case Lucas needed her. They made love slowly, carefully, learning each other's bodies like sacred texts. James was gentle with her scars, the physical ones on her ribs, where Marcus had broken them, and the invisible ones that made her flinch at sudden movements. He touched her like she was precious, like she was whole, like she was enough exactly as she was. Afterward, they lay tangled together, the moonlight painting silver stripes across the sheets. Isabel traced the scars on James's chest, old bullet wound, knife slash, the mottled burn on his shoulder. "Tell me about them." He covered her hand with his. "Bullet was Afghanistan, back when I was younger and stupider. Knife was a suspect who didn't want to be arrested. Burn was—" He stopped. "The night Sarah died, I pulled someone from a burning car. Not her, just some stranger. But I kept thinking if I could save them, maybe it would balance out what I couldn't save." Isabel pressed a kiss to the scar. "Did it?" "No." His voice was rough. "Nothing did. For a long time, I just went through the motions. Work, sleep, repeat. Dangerous cases where dying wouldn't have been the worst outcome." He turned to look at her. "Until I met you. Now I have something to live for again. No pressure. Isabel said, trying for lightness even as her heart cracked open. He smiled, that rare, full smile that transformed his face. The best kind of pressure. They fell asleep, wrapped around each other, and for the first time in years, Isabel slept through the night without nightmares. She woke to sunlight and the smell of pancakes. When she made it to the kitchen, still rumpled and smiling, James was at the stove while Lucas sat at the table arranging plastic dinosaurs in elaborate battle formations. "Good morning, sleepyhead." James's eyes were warm, knowing. "Coffee's ready." Lucas looked up. "Mum, James says we can go fishing today. There's a pond with actual fish in it." "Does he?" Isabel accepted the coffee James handed her, their fingers brushing. A small intimacy that felt enormous. "That sounds fun." They spent the morning by the pond, Lucas shrieking with delight every time he got a nibble. He caught 3 sunfish, insisted on naming them all, then carefully released them back into the water. James taught him how to cast properly, patient and encouraging, and Isabel watched them with her heart in her throat. This could be her life. Not running, not hiding, just living, with a man who loved her, who was good to her son, who made her believe in happy endings again. But reality intruded just after lunch when James's phone rang. He glanced at the screen, his expression going hard, and stepped onto the porch to take the call. Isabel watched through the window as he paced, one hand raking through his hair, his body language screaming tension. When he came back inside, his face was grim. "What's wrong?" Isabel asked, fear already coiling in her stomach. James glanced at Lucas, who was absorbed in building a Lego spaceship. "Can we talk outside?" They went to the porch, and James pulled her close, his arms solid around her. "That was my contact at the Philadelphia PD. Your ex-husband filed a missing persons report this morning. For you and Lucas." Isabel's blood went cold. "What?" "He's claiming you took Lucas out of school without permission, violated custody agreements, that he's worried about his son's safety." James's jaw was tight. "It's bullshit and we both know it. But he's playing the concerned father card. Couple that with you disappearing from work without notice. He's making me look unstable." The familiar panic rose up, the feeling of being trapped with no good options. "What do we do?" "We go back." James cupped her face, making her look at him. "Today, right now. You return to work, explain you had a family emergency, show that Lucas is safe and healthy. We document everything, the threats at the hotel, your legitimate reason for leaving, all of it." His eyes were fierce. "And then we file our own complaint against him for harassment and false reporting. Turn this back on him." "What if that's not enough?" Isabel's voice shook. "What if he convinces them I'm an unfit mother? What if he takes Lucas?" "He won't." James's voice was steel. "I won't let him. Isabel, listen to me. You have a job, a home, a support system. You've been the primary parent for 3 years. Lucas is thriving with you. Any judge will see that." He pressed his forehead to hers. "Plus, you have something you didn't have before." "What?" "Me." His hands tightened on her waist. "A federal investigator willing to testify to the threats you've received, the restraining order violations, all of it. I've already been documenting everything for the case we're building. Marcus doesn't stand a chance." Isabel wanted to believe him. "Promise me." Her hands fisted in his shirt. "Promise me he can't take Lucas." "I promise." James kissed her, soft and sure. "We're going to end this. Today. Together." They packed quickly, Isabel explaining to Lucas that their adventure was ending, but there would be more. He was disappointed, but not traumatized, already chattering about showing his friends the dinosaur facts James had taught him. The drive back to Philadelphia felt both too long and too short. James dropped them at her apartment, but not before pulling Isabel aside. "I'm going straight to the police station to file our complaint. Then I'm meeting with the DA about Marcus's pattern of harassment. You call your boss, explain the situation, get back on the schedule for tomorrow night." He handed her a business card. "This is my lawyer, family law specialist. She's expecting your call. She'll help you formalize custody and get the restraining order strengthened. You've thought of everything." Isabel's voice wobbled. "That's my job." He kissed her once, twice, lingering. "I'll be back tonight. Lock the doors, keep your phone on you, and if Marcus shows up, you call 911 first and me second." Understand? Understand. Yolanda was waiting upstairs, relief flooding her face when she saw them. Isa, Marcus has been calling everyone. He even showed up at the hotel looking for you. I know. Isabel filled her in quickly, while Lucas went to his room to unpack his dinosaurs. But we're fighting back this time. Really fighting back. She spent the afternoon on the phone with her boss, who was understanding but firm about needing her back immediately. With James's lawyer, who was sharp and confident, and made Isabel feel like maybe she could win this. With the police, filing a formal complaint about Marcus's harassment. By evening, she was exhausted, but felt something she hadn't in years' hope. James returned at 7 with Thai food and news. The DA is very interested in Marcus's case. Turns out he's been on their radar for other issues: bar fights, domestic complaints from his current girlfriend. They're building a pattern of behavior case that goes beyond just you. He pulled her close. This is happening, Isabel. He's going down. That night, after Lucas was asleep and Yolanda had retreated to the guest room, Isabel and James sat together on her worn couch. It wasn't the beautiful farmhouse, wasn't the safe bubble they'd created, but it was real life. And James was still here, still holding her hand. What happens now? She asked quietly. Now you go back to work. You live your life. The legal process takes time, but we've got momentum. James kissed her temple. And I'll be there. Every night you work, sitting in that lobby, making sure you're safe. You can't put your life on hold for me. I'm not putting it on hold. He turned her face to his, and the intensity in his dark eyes stole her breath. I'm living it. With you. This is what I choose, Isabel. You and Lucas. Every day, for as long as you'll have me. Forever. Isabel whispered. I choose forever. He kissed her then, deep and claiming, a promise that tasted like coming home. Outside, the city hummed with its endless noise, but inside, in this small apartment with its worn furniture and echoes of fear, something new was growing. Something that looked a lot like love. Something that felt a lot like safety. Something that whispered finally of hope. 2 weeks later, Isabel stood in a courthouse corridor, watching through the small window as Marcus Torres sat at the defendant's table, his expensive suit unable to hide the rage simmering beneath his composed exterior. James's hand was warm and steady at the small of her back, anchoring her. You don't have to watch this part. His voice was soft. We can wait in the lawyer's office. No. Isabel straightened her shoulders. I need to see it. Need to see him face consequences for once. The hearing for the restraining order violation and harassment charges had been fast-tracked thanks to James's connections and the DA's genuine interest in Marcus's pattern of behavior. Isabel had given her deposition yesterday, walking the lawyer through 3 years of fear, the broken ribs Marcus had dismissed as an accident, the escalating control, the nightmare of leaving, the constant terror of being found. She'd cried through most of it, but James had been there, holding her hand, reminding her she was safe now, that she'd never have to face Marcus alone again. The judge entered, an older woman with steel-grey hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Isabel watched through the glass as Marcus's lawyer stood, presenting their case-concerned father, mother who'd vanished without warning, violation of informal custody agreements. It was all lies wrapped in legal language, and Isabel felt her stomach churn. Then the prosecutor stood, and everything changed. She laid out Marcus's history methodically, the hospital records from Isabel's broken ribs, documentation of 4 restraining order violations, witness statements from Lucas's school about Marcus's aggressive behavior, police reports from his current girlfriend about domestic disputes. Then she called James to the stand. Isabel watched as James walked into the courtroom, confident and professional in his dark suit. He looked different than the man who'd held her last night, who'd read dinosaur books to Lucas, who'd whispered promises against her skin. This was federal investigator James Garrett, and he was formidable. His testimony was precise and damning. He detailed the threats Isabel had received at the hotel, her legitimate reasons for seeking temporary safety, Marcus's pattern of using legal channels to continue his harassment. He provided documentation, photographs, witness statements. By the time he finished, Marcus's lawyer looked deflated. The judge didn't take long to decide. Restraining order extended to 500 yards. No contact with Isabel or Lucas whatsoever. Supervised visitation only if and when Lucas expressed interest, which he hadn't. Mandatory anger management and domestic violence counseling. And a warning: one more violation, and Marcus would face jail time. Isabel watched Marcus's face turn purple with rage as the judge spoke, watched him lean toward his lawyer, hissing something angry, and felt nothing. No fear, no anxiety, just a profound sense of relief and the beginning of something that felt like freedom. When James emerged from the courtroom, Isabel threw herself into his arms, not caring who saw, not caring about anything except the solid reality of him. "It's over." Her voice was muffled against his chest. "It's really over. It's really over." James held her tight, his lips pressed to the top of her head. "You're free, Isabel. You and Lucas both." The lawyer approached, smiling. "The custody paperwork will be finalized next week, but it's a formality at this point. Full legal custody to you, Ms. Torres. Congratulations." Isabel couldn't stop the tears, but for the first time in years, they were tears of relief. James kept his arm around her as they left the courthouse, stepping out into crisp December sunshine that felt like a benediction. "Come on." He guided her toward his car. "There's someone waiting to celebrate with you." At her apartment, Yolanda had organized a small party: balloons, Lucas's favorite pizza, a cake decorated with badly drawn dinosaurs that made everyone laugh. Lucas was bouncing off the walls with excitement, not fully understanding what they were celebrating, but caught up in the joy of it anyway. "Does this mean the monster isn't coming back?" he asked Isabel quietly during cake, his small face serious. Isabel pulled him into her lap, breathing in his little boy scent. "The monster isn't coming back, baby. I promise. You're safe now. We both are." Lucas nodded, then looked at James, who was talking with Yolanda across the room. "Is James staying? Do you want him to?" Isabel's heart hammered. "It's okay if you need time, baby. Just you and me for a while. I like James." Lucas played with a plastic stegosaurus. "He's nice to you. He doesn't yell, and he knows about dinosaurs." He looked up at her with those big dark eyes that saw too much for 7. "He makes you smile, Mum. Like really smile." Isabel's throat tightened. "Yeah, he does. Then he should stay." Lucas said it with the simple certainty of childhood. "We have room." Later that night, after Lucas was asleep and Yolanda had gone home and the apartment was quiet, Isabel found James on her small balcony, looking out over the city lights. "Thank you." She wrapped her arms around him from behind, resting her cheek against his back. "For everything. For believing me. For fighting for us. For..." Her voice caught. "For giving me my life back." James turned in her arms, pulling her close. "You gave yourself your life back. You're the one who was brave enough to leave. Brave enough to keep going even when you were terrified. I just helped clear the path." Lucas asked if you're staying. Isabel looked up at him, her heart in her throat. "I told him I'd talk to you about it." James's expression went very still. "What do you want, Isabel?" "I want you." She said it simply, honestly. "I want this. Us. I want to wake up next to you and make breakfast together and argue about whose turn it is to do the dishes. I want Lucas to have a man in his life who shows him what good looks like. I want..." She touched his face, feeling the familiar rasp of stubble, the scar through his eyebrow. "I want forever with you, James Garrett. If you'll have us." "If I'll..." James laughed, and it was full of wonder. "Isabel, I've been yours since the moment you stood behind that desk and refused to give up information about Chen. Since I saw you protecting what mattered, even when you were scared." He kissed her, soft and reverent. "Yes. Yes to forever. Yes to breakfast and dishes and everything in between. Yes to being Lucas's." He paused. "What would I be exactly?" "Whatever you want to be." Isabel smiled through tears. "Friend, mentor. Eventually, if things go well, maybe..." "Stepdad." James said it carefully, testing the word. "I like the sound of that." "Yeah? Yeah." He pulled a small box from his pocket, and Isabel's breath stopped. "I know it's fast. I know we should probably wait longer. Do this the traditional way. But we've never been traditional, have we? He opened the box to reveal a simple silver band with a small diamond. Marry me, Isabel. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday soon. Let me spend the rest of my life making sure you and Lucas always feel safe. Always feel loved. Always know you have someone in your corner. Yes. The word came out as a sob. Yes, yes, yes. He slid the ring onto her finger, and it fit perfectly, like it had been made for her. Like everything about this man had been made for her, his strength when she needed protection, his gentleness when she needed comfort, his patience when she needed time. They kissed under the stars, the city humming around them, and Isabel felt something she hadn't felt in years complete. 3 months later, Isabel stood behind the desk at the Meridian Hotel, but this time it was different. She wore her engagement ring openly, no longer trying to hide or be invisible. Marcus was gone, not just legally restrained, but actually gone, moved to California with his new girlfriend, apparently having decided Lucas wasn't worth the effort when actual consequences were involved. James sat in his usual spot in the lobby, reading a newspaper, but really watching her, the way he did every night she worked. He'd been officially assigned to a new case corporate fraud in New York, but he made it work, commuting when necessary, always making sure he was home for Lucas's bedtime. They'd moved into a bigger apartment together, one with a yard where Lucas could play and a guest room for Yolanda's frequent visits. Lucas's nightmares had stopped completely, replaced with dreams about space and dinosaurs and normal kid things. He called James by his first name, but Isabel caught him referring to "my dad" sometimes when talking to friends, and James never corrected him. The wedding was planned for June's small ceremony, close friends, Lucas as the ring bearer. They'd talked about Isabel finding a day job, something with regular hours, but she'd discovered she actually liked the night shift, liked the quiet, the rhythm, the way it let her be there for Lucas during the day. And James didn't mind. He said he'd gotten used to these midnight hours with her. At 2 a.m. during the dead quiet of deep night, James came up to the desk. It was their ritual, now stolen moments when the lobby was empty, brief conversations that were really just excuses to be close. "How's your shift?" He leaned on the counter, and she saw the love in his eyes, warm and constant. "Better now," she smiled, the kind of smile that came from deep happiness rather than professional courtesy. "Lucas asked again today when you're officially moving in. I've been sleeping there every night for 2 months." James grinned. "I think I've already moved in." "He means when are we getting married so he can tell people you're his dad?" Isabel's voice was soft. "He's ready, James, for all of it." "Are you?" James reached across the desk, taking her hand. "Ready for all of it." Isabel looked at this man who'd walked into her hotel and her life and changed everything, who'd seen her at her most frightened and loved her anyway, who'd taught her son to fish and made her laugh and held her through the hard nights when old fears crept back in, who'd promised her safety and then delivered it, not by fighting her battles for her, but by standing beside her while she fought them herself. "I'm ready." She squeezed his hand. "For everything." "Good." James pulled her hand to his lips, kissed her knuckles. "Because I'm not going anywhere. Not tonight, not tomorrow, not ever. You're stuck with me, Isabel Torres, soon to be Isabel Garrett." "I like the sound of that." "Me too." He stayed at the desk for a few more minutes, just talking, making her laugh about something Lucas had said at breakfast. Then he returned to his spot in the lobby, and Isabel got back to work. But everything was different now. The same marble floors, the same brass fixtures, the same midnight quiet. But she was different. No longer running, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. Just a woman doing her job, wearing an engagement ring, planning a future that included Sunday morning pancakes and science fair projects, and growing old with someone who made her feel safe enough to dream again. At 6 a.m., when Sarah arrived to take over the day shift, James was waiting by the employee exit with coffee, and that smile that still made her heart skip. Ready to go home? Home. Not just an apartment, but home. With him and Lucas, and a future full of ordinary, beautiful moments. "Yeah." Isabel took his hand as they walked into the dawn together. "I'm ready." And for the first time in years, she meant it. She was finally, truly home.